Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Krishna Priya. This is a Human Colony Hucolo webinar. It's Saturday, the 10th of May, 2025. We have a special webinar today. We're going to be doing. Welcome. This is Krishna Priya. This is a Human Colony every time. Hucolo webinar. We're gonna. I should just do it in advance and then play it so everyone can hear it. But anyway, we're going to do a group channeling and psychic readings today. So it's group channeling and psychic Sunday, psychic Saturday, depending on, where you are in the world. And we'll be taking anyone's questions about anything. And then our lovely panel here will chime in with their answers should they have one. And if you have a straight up psychic question, I'm happy to answer those. I would prefer not to answer like boyfriend, girlfriend questions unless it's about a dynamic within a relationship. But when I'm going to meet my soulmate and all that, let's skip that stuff if we can, please. But you can contact me for a psychic reading if you would like. All right. Okay. So Angie, you have some announcements for us?
Why, yes, I do.
Right.
Today, this afternoon, or this evening, or wherever you are in the plane of existence, today we are doing a galactic energy healing student course. There is still some room available if you're interested in participating today. It is 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The cost is $150, and it is the student course. Email classes@hucolo.org to get any information to me about registering for that class today, if you're interested.
And when does it start today?
2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, a long time. All right. And it's
Yes.
2 days?
We're doing it a one-day class versus
Ah.
a 2-day because, trying to make it have 2 days of being available. So I'm cramming it into one day. So.
And also too, if there's people that have expressed interest in having a pendulum class, and we're
Yes.
looking at doing that in August
Yes.
of, this August coming up. So if that is interesting for you, please email classes@hucolo.org and say, I want a
I'm
pendulum.
interested. I'm
I'm
in.
interested in pendulum. I'm in with the pendulum.
Help me to work with my pendulum. I use mine all the time, like daily, because there's a lot of energies in a pendulum that you can get your answers, and you protect your pendulum
Yeah.
while you're getting your answers. But I use my pendulum daily, daily.
Cool. I will learn everything from what is a pendulum, what are the pendulum techniques, but also to bring the energy to your pendulum. So your pendulum, you can build, just like any tool, you build a relationship with
Yes.
that tool.
Yes.
That's why people like certain cards or certain crystals or certain this. And
Right.
I have a pendulum that is quite feisty and maybe works for me some of the time when it's not hiding under the couch or flying off the table.
Yes. All right.
But yeah, so we're learning all kinds of stuff and how to make a pendulum wheel. And
Yes.
there's just all kinds of applications for pendulum. Great in house cleansings, great in
Yes.
energy work. I mean, pendulums can do a lot, a lot, a lot. So
Yes.
I'm happy to share that with everyone. All
All
right,
right. Okay, I have more.
classes.org. Yes,
Yes,
you have more?
I
Okay,
do have more.
well, go ahead.
I have more. So, for any of that, classes at hucolo.org, and we can help get you set up. Now, with Skype being gone now, we have a whole new setup. It's taken us Will and I some time, but we've got him set up. Um, he is going to be doing his meetings on Google Meet. So when you receive a invitation, please make sure you select yes if that date and time works for you. If that date and time works for you, if you click no, it will send us/Jim and all the people working with him a note that says, "Hey, we that doesn't work for me." So, as the new process, I'm going to be sending out a mass email. I haven't done that yet. I have to incorporate all of the contacts from one to another. So we're still in that process, but he is using Google Meet. He's using Google Meet. So if those dates and times work for you for sessions, please make sure you click accept that time. All right, here is his information. I'm not, okay. All right. He's moving away from jimreiki@gmail.com, although it will still be there and available. It's jim@jim-charles.com. That is the email address now to set up or to contact him. And then the website, please, we're asking that you start going to the website, Jim at, no, Jim, www.jim-charles.com for any type of sessions. So the new email address again, and the new website. Well, the website's been up and running, but the new. So, all right. So that is it for that. And yeah, I got nothing else.
Okay. Well, I like our high-tech way of letting people know. I would
Listen,
say
isn't that funny? I said I'm taking this one right from Max. Max is very good
you
at.
know, if we were doing YouTube live, then we
Right.
could set up a card and then we could say, click right here, and then it would come up on the screen and then you click it and then.
Yes, and it just goes whoop. Yeah.
But that's the same thing as like and subscribe and
Right.
and the bell, and we don't say that enough, but please
Right.
like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we start with some blessings? And Nathan in YouTube has requested a good idea, by the way, has requested that we do a prayer for India and Pakistan. And I think since we have several full-fledged Indians in the room, Radha and Salesh, maybe they want to lead a prayer. Radha, would you be open to leading a prayer? Okay.
Sure, I can do that.
Okay, great. So Salesh can do his light language or however he wants to, and hi. So there's
Celeste, do you want to go first?
Well, we're not ready yet. Just one moment.
Oh, okay.
So we'll do the prayers last. So we'll do Wendy, Susan, then Radha and Salesh, I think. And if you both want to do a separate prayer, no problem. That's great. But we'll pray for both India and Pakistan, and Pakistan, as they say. So yeah. And Angie's going to be interpreting as needed. All right, whenever y'all are ready. So please stay in that order. I don't know what I said, Wendy or Susan or Wendy. I'm sure I think I said what did I say? Wendy first. Okay. Wendy first, Susan, then Radha, then Salesh. Okay. All right, whenever y'all are ready.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Just asking for the most loving light language and interpretation to come through for each of you and all that watch later. Honyeret ni shur nya tahira ka ina pacha tu nya titiur tu kienya hashara ka na taru tu yini itakahirana hashata ni ichahiru nya ka ni shut ni thiranya hapahiranya itirano to Blessings to all of you. We are here with you always. Your angelic realm, your galactic families, your ancestors are always with you. And sometimes, unfortunately, that can create chaos in the surrounding areas. It may not necessarily be in your household or your backyard, but these chaotic times are coming forward as these lower frequencies of dissension amongst selves, amongst families are coming to be released because these higher vibration energies are coming in to support you, to lift you up, to raise you into the light, to help you remember the love that you are. And as you are moving forward and stepping forward, we ask you to stay as neutral as possible, to stay in that 0 point of your heart so that you may be entrusted with the growth and the experience of bringing this world into ascension, meeting with your galactic families, meeting with those who are already higher in the light. We have been there too. We have been in your past. We are your future. You are our past. And therefore, we know 100% completely what this is that you're going through. Blessings to us, blessings to you. We are all doing this work together in divine love. Be your brightest light. We are the Arcturians, and we thank you for allowing us to bring you this message on this day. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Susan?
Ta sika ya tuji sia, he tukude ya zia kitia sukuhaya. He sia ya kutu sia, tutu ya sia ye kia tutu ya ye kia tuji sia, tutu de ya ye kia tuku ya ye kiti, hazuya ya ye kia usi ya yoku ya tia. He sia ya kia tutu de ya zia usia ututu ya kia te usa yetitia kua. Hesia utia yasia yokukia sia ukukia sitia tutu de yaetia kuya tia zitia usia ukui hazia hia tutu yaetia kukuhia yetia sia kutu ya yitukua hesia ya hia tukoya. One moment. This is Altman of the Syrian Collective. I am a canine humanoid, and I am here to express that we are here with you in positivity, in support of your ascension process, that we are amongst you upon the planet as well, that we are able to enter your dimension at will. But do not fear us, for we are here to share the love with our galactic brothers and sisters, which are you and many others, that we are here gathered together in support of you, in love, in gratitude for all that you are doing upon the planet. Do not let the weight of this dense plane weigh upon you. Allow yourself to reach up into the higher realms to connect with us and help us to lift your burdens. These times are chaotic. These times are shaking you up from what you have known into what you will become. Allow yourself to flow with these changes. Allow yourself, your soul to guide you forward and not what is playing out on the world stage. For this shall pass, that this shall help lead you forward into a greater tomorrow. We extend our blessings to you. Feel free to reach out to the Syrian Collective at any time, and we will be there for all of you. Namaste.
Thank you. All right, Radha, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so let's take a moment of silence and prayer to emanate thoughts of peace and love for all the war-torn areas around the world. There's a lot of chaos happening everywhere, and I think our group can affect these changes with our hearts. We want these 5D energies of the new earth to come to this realm and envelope our beautiful Gaia. May the higher consciousness that we seek for all beings, may they come forth. God, please listen to our prayers and assist us in making this into reality. Thank you and namaste.
Atur shimatala hatihinu ba umatara siti liti haha petu tushutur haparha ufu shi patukamata hanahani titi homa ho wata titi shutu ho tita laha titi ho titi ha ho ha shuhu. Namaste.
As you send your energies out into the ethers of this planet, send the energies for light, for positivity, and for energetic connection. These energies that you permeate out do reach those in all areas of distress, all area of suppression, all areas of lower vibration. Continue to send these energies.
Thank you. I just want to do a little peace mantra that's very well known, and if you chant mantra, then you probably know it. But it goes like this. It goes, Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. It's Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. And it means, may all the beings in all the world be happy and be free. And that's the mantra you always chant for peace. So if we can just chant it 3 times together, and then followed by like Om, and then Shanti, 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 which is peace, peace, peace. That's the way you end a prayer. Like some people say Amen, but we always do Om, and then Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So just take a deep breath. You can do your hands in prayer, or you can do them in a mudra, whatever is more comfortable for you, but I'm going to do it in prayer. So, because this is my prayer. So take a deep breath in. We'll begin with Om. Om. Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. All right, so here we go. Today, this day of today, we're going to be doing a group channeling and psychic I want to say Saturday session. So that means any questions that you have, whether they're psychic questions or channeling questions, or maybe a combination of both, feel free to ask. I would say try to avoid questions like, when am I going to meet my soulmate? But if you have relationship questions, interdynamic questions like that, feel free to ask them. And I need everyone to participate in the room because we have just me and a few other people here, so we all have to participate with questions. So any questions you have in the YouTube chat, we'll also be taking questions. So, all right, anyone just want to start with a question? There's a burning question in their heart. Really? Also, anyone
Oh, I'm not sure if she dropped out, but she must have. And so there she is. She's back. She left us. She came back. That's
Well,
the story of our lives.
we're having some high winds and a little bit, I don't think it's raining now, but in the evenings lately, the last couple of days, we've had some high winds and rain, and that's never a good it's never a good India internet combination. So do you have a question, Andy? Can you start us off with some question?
Sure, yes. All right. I'm going to talk about my question is about how can we as a community, how can we other than just sending the energies out to different parts of the world, how can we really become part of what is happening on our planet, not just in our area, not just in other areas, but like really, how can we help?
Well, there's several answers to that. One is your area is a good place to start. Yourself is an even better place to start because the world is just made up of people and we are those people. And so when we are at peace, we create peace around us. So if we are not peaceful within ourselves, we cannot create peace with other people. So our first work is with ourselves and doing our own inner work. That means doing whatever healing you need to be doing whatever kind of, forgiveness, letting go, releasing, all of that self-work that we need to do is the first thing. And then also too, that we have to realize that as one person, yes, you can make a difference in the whole world, but you're not going to be on the front lines of any war that's taking place outside of your country. You're just not. So to think, how can I affect what's happening in India and Pakistan or Russia and Ukraine or in Africa or, in Asia? It's a good thought, but that is the places you really do want to send energy to. You do want to send the energy to them to support people, to help them change their minds, to pray for them to have epiphanies, to pray for the safety, et cetera, et cetera. But I would say if you become passionate about a certain thing, and not everyone's passionate about the same thing. Maybe you're passionate again about water, or maybe you're passionate about electricity, providing electricity for people, or feeding people, or whatever you're passionate for. You give your money, you give your time if possible. Your time can be writing letters to the right people. It can be actually volunteering on the ground, but you find what you're passionate about and you start to act on some level. But if you create peace within your own community, then you affect other people who create peace in their community. And the world is just one big community. So on those ways, but ultimately it's first with us. That's why we meditate. That's why we do all the things that we're doing, so that we can be our best and walking, talking, and living the walk that we want for other people. Because when we, realize that we're all one, then we of course make different choices. So it's first us, but to make a difference on a worldwide level, if you are not making a difference in yourself, you're not going to be able to make that big impact that you want to make. And the other thing is that you cannot be attached to the outcome.
Right.
Right? That's the biggest thing. Like, okay. I'll give you an example. And this isn't my example, but I'll share it anyway. You think about like people here in India, and people are poor, a lot of them, and even to go to school can be an expense that a family just doesn't have. It could cost US wise like $10 or $15 to buy a uniform for your child, but they can't go to school without a uniform. And so for them to even afford it, it's then there's school fees, etc. And for some families, that's just not accessible. So what they do is they will have their children not go to school, and the children will end up begging on the street as part and bringing money home for their family. But you'll have one father who will say, you know what, I don't want my daughter to be a beggar. I don't want her to be married at 12. And he works and works and works a job. He works 3 jobs. He works himself probably to death, almost. He's probably not going to live long because he's worked himself so hard, but he does send his daughter to school. And his daughter gets an education and she's able to get a job. And it just changes the community, because he also inspires his neighbor to say, you know what, I'm going to work an extra job so my daughter can go to school or my son can go to school. And pretty soon, most of the children in that area are going to school and getting an education, and they're raising themselves out of poverty. So this father, without knowing it, started a revolution in his own town. And that wasn't what he set out to do. He set out to say, my daughter's not going to beg on the street. She's going to go to school. But because that daughter went to school and she went to university and she got a job and her children grew up and she married someone who was responsible. And do you know what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden, so much has happened. But he was not attached to changing the world. He was just trying to make a better choice for his child, and out of love. And he did it to his own probably physical detriment, because he was working 15 hours a day in, day out, 7 days a week for years, just so his daughter could go to school. But it changed his entire village. It changed an entire town. And the thing I would say about any kind of change that we want to implement in the world, we cannot be attached to that outcome. People always say, like, for instance, I want to be a channel. Why? Because I want to be famous and I want to talk on talk shows and I want to do this. Your desire to channel should be to help people. Anything else will come along with it. But if you seek the outcome, you will probably fail. And it's probably not sincere. And this father probably has no idea how he changed his whole town. So I would say it's not wrong to have big goals about how you want the change to be. But whatever you put your energy into, it has to be from that sincere place of true love, of I'm just going to take care of what I can take care of, what's right in front of me right now. And that will be enough. Like you work with children, all the children that you're affecting in the positive way. I mean, it's like a pyramid scheme, really, right? It's a pyramid scheme. All those, it just filters out and out. And you probably have no idea how you will have affected the lives of the people you've affected and how what they do affects other people. But that can't ever be your goal, right? Your goal has to be, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to connect to the divine part of me so that I'm walking in my truth. I'm walking in integrity. I'm making choices based on what I know to be true, true being the highest truth, not true in the moment. And you follow that thing that you're passionate about. So whether it's teaching children or planting trees or picking up trash in your neighborhood or getting a stop sign on the end of your street, whatever these things are that pull you and call you and make you want to, make you want to help on some level where it bothers you so much that you can't sleep at night if you're not doing something about it. That is what you should be paying attention to. And for other things, give money to organizations that are on the ground. Do those kind of things. Write letters, make calls, get involved in your local government if that's your calling. But do something first with yourself and then see. But I wouldn't say be attached to the outcome. I would say be attached to the truth of your motivation for doing it. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, because you know what? So many people worry about that which is outside of them. So the fact that you're absolutely 100% right, on target. We have to be in our own perfect alignment before we can start doing that.
Well, you have to
Thank
put on
you.
your own oxygen mask first.
That's
You have
right.
to take care of yourself. The thing is you can't give something you don't have,
Right.
right? So you have to make sure you're taking care of yourself. And sometimes you can say, oh, well, that's selfish. I need to help other people first, but it's not really about selfishness. You can do it simultaneously, right? But it's just you have to be whole too, because you are also important and your needs are important. It's great to go meet other people's needs, but meet your own as well, because that's also important. You're also a divine being that needs to be tended to and nurtured and everything. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That beautifully inspired and said.
Great. Thank you. Does anyone else have a question, or somebody has a question in the YouTube chat as well?
Susan had a question.
Okay, go ahead, Susan. I didn't see your thing. What was your question?
My question is, so Wendy and Radha and and Wendy's husband are going on a trip to Oregon at the end of this month, and from like May 29th to June 2nd. And originally we were going to do a workshop during that event or during that trip, and we ended up canceling it. It was supposed to be about divine sacred union of divine feminine and masculine, and doing some channeling and biotuning, but we kind of got the event out a little late in March, and so we ended up canceling it at the end of last month, since no one had signed up on Eventbrite for it. So we're feeling like, we're just meant to go on this trip and connect with one another and perhaps connect with the Sasquatch or share our energies in Oregon, and just enjoy our time there, and maybe possibly look at locations for doing like a future event. So I'm just wondering if there's any insights as far as the purpose for going on this trip, why we're drawn there, and if we're going to connect with Sasquatch, or I guess, if we're sharing some energies that we're holding, some light codes, etc., to anchor them into the earth, or any insights around that would be great.
Well, I would the first thing that my guide said is that beyond the calling of to be there, which you've already, said you're going, and, regardless of if you have a thing or not, it's for you to set the intention for what you want to happen there. You're also in control of this. And so if your goals are to do certain things, then set the intention that you get the inspiration of where to go and what to do. But it's not so much that it has to be something coming down to you and telling you what to do. Now is the time for you to really start to direct what you're wanting. If it's not in alignment with your base, what is your basic goal of doing these get-togethers? Or these workshops, or whatever you're calling them, retreats, whatever you're calling, what is your goal?
I think when we've gotten the messages through our channeling practice, it was to, I think, bring in more of that divine feminine energy, or balance it with the masculine. I know that was one thing we've been guided to do, and we've been I know Wendy and I have been told in the past, like we're supposed to be doing more of these events together and even in other states. And so, but we're just trying to follow, yeah, go with the flow, follow whatever guidance comes up as we receive it. And one of that was to go to Oregon. Another trip we're guided to do in the future is to go to Maine, um, and perhaps
Okay,
back to
but just
Mount
to stay with
Shasta.
Oregon at the moment,
Okay.
what I'm trying to get you to ask is like, what is the overall reaching goals of doing this work? It's to, bring in the right energies at the right time for the right people who need it, and to
Yeah.
also help in yourself grow. So set that intention that regardless of whether or not you're doing a retreat with countless other people, that you're also going to have that experience yourself there. And it's probably my feeling is one of the reasons why this sort of is getting delayed, to another time, is that it's really for you all to have this experience there now. But I would say that you would set the same intention that you would set as you would do for a workshop. And maybe there won't be classes, but they'll sort of be life experiences of things that you want to experience there. And set sometimes, to do some meditation outside, and it's a beautiful landscape there. So set some intentions to do some meditations outside and to experience the land, and it's probably a lot more intimate to be able to experience just the two of you or the three of you than trying to direct a group when you're not even familiar with the place that you're going to be anyway. So
Yeah,
this
we're
is
gonna
your
take a
time.
day tour to the coast one day. We're gonna go to some waterfalls and to Mount Hood another day. So yeah, we're gonna connect with nature, connect with the land, and yeah, we're kind of feeling like yeah, this is our time to explore the area and familiarize ourselves with it, and yeah, connect with the land, etc. But yeah, I do agree that part of the reason for these workshops in the future is to provide an example of what we've gone through on our journey and to share that with others that are just starting out in
Mhm.
their awakening or ascension process or what have you, and we do that through our channeling practice group, and Wendy and I do channeling events and things like that separately, but yeah, we just feel like it's going to just continue to expand upon that, and just yeah, sharing that with others is what we're kind of
So set
inspired
an
to do.
intention to do at least one ritual while you're there, one healing, when you're on tour group, it's probably hard to sort of take, half a day and sit with the land and talk to the land and but set the intention to do that, and set the same intentions that you would have, and see when you're there, what the message of the land is for you. And as you're actually experiencing it in real time. But that's my feeling I have, is that you're really being called to connect to the place where you're going to be in a way that you wouldn't be able to do if you just showed up there and then try to lead a group to do it. You first have to have that connection to that land itself, you know, because you're not going there, if you're going there to really connect and to balance energy, you need to be able to be in the energy that needs to be balanced. And I have the feeling that it's not so much that the energy that you're going to balance the energy, but maybe the energies there are going to balance you. And they're going to teach you, and they're going to bring you stuff, as opposed to you doing it the opposite way. I'm sure that there's streams and rivers and all of those things that need healing. But what I'm saying is that the overall energy of the land probably has a lot to teach you and to give to you, as opposed to you giving it to it. It's a lot more ancient than you are, and a lot more profound and deep and, hardy than you even are. And so there's a lot to learn from the land, as opposed to tell the land what it needs. Maybe ask the land when you're there what it wants from you. That would
Yeah.
be the approach.
Yeah, the
You know,
day that we were going to do the workshop, that Sunday, the day before we were going to go home, is kind of a free day now. So that would probably be a good time for us to do some of that yeah, to explore the area and yeah, connect and do some ceremonies. That's a
I,
beautiful, beautiful
I would
idea.
just always say, like, how would you expect to like go in somewhere and actually work with the land if you don't know the land. So it's just like a guide. You have to work with your guide. You have to get to know your guide. You have to listen to your guide, and so this land is going to be guiding you, and there's a lot of energy there. And it's beautifully called to you. So please, it's good to accept the invitation and go and listen to what it has to say to you.
Yes. So the second question I have about that is kind of related is more recently I've been feeling, I mean, for years I've felt connected to Sacagawea, and I've read
Okay.
books about her and everything like that. But I more recently got the message or feeling that I was her husband in that lifetime. And I know that during the Lewis and Clark expeditions, they traveled in Oregon and along the coast and different areas. And I'm almost feeling like maybe that's part of the reason I'm feeling called to go there, or I'm like connecting with maybe this lifetime. I don't know if you pick up, I guess, any confirmation
I feel
around that.
well, I just feel that whatever has called you there, that's what you need to be exploring. And that would be my sole purpose for going, would be to see why you were called there and to give it the time that it needs, that you need to connect. And if it's this being that you are connected to, then you should go there with this intention of the connection. But I feel like it's just like the same thing we tell people. People would go, oh, I feel like I might be Pleiadian. Am I Pleiadian? Yes, you are. Because you wouldn't be, I don't feel Pleiadian. You know what I'm saying? Like you would, you
Yeah.
wouldn't if you weren't Pleiadian. So
So yeah,
if it's
I'll
there
I'll
within you,
go, yeah, with that
I'm trying
intention
to get a
to,
comfortable spot with my legs here, sorry. Yeah. So
no,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely go there with this sort of uh with this sort of reverence of I'm here in this land, and then do some, I don't know if you do any path work, but it's very beautiful. It's sort of like you write yourself a little bit of a script, and you can channel the script of what you want to do, but it's sort of a pathwork meditation where you see yourself born into the land. You see yourself growing up as this being, and it can be imagined or not, but it's more about having the connection and to sit and do that path work and find the different life lessons that this person had that's maybe coming into your life now, that's inspiring now, that's informing you now. And those things will become apparent, so that you really walk away with a deepened sense of who you are in relationship to this being that you're connected to. Because it's about building the relationship. If you don't have that connection, you can't do the work as well as if you did have the connection. And so for everyone, it can be different. It can be their higher self. It can be another incarnation of themselves. But if you feel the call, it's definitely there. I would say stop questioning, oh, is that what I'm supposed to do? I would take it as I feel the call. That's what I'm supposed to do. Take the
yeah,
call as the confirmation,
okay.
you know? You know what I
That's,
mean? As opposed to, I
yes,
got this
very
call. Should I take
succinctly
the call?
said.
Yeah, take the call as the confirmation.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
normally just trust, yeah, whatever's guiding me forward, just keep moving in that direction, and yeah, and
And I feel like I've said it to you,
more will come up, yeah, as I
right?
go forward.
And I feel like I've said it to you before, but I'll just say it again. It's just that everything that comes in, just approach it with reverence. And this is my thing. I say it a lot in webinars. It's just that when we are talking to a higher being, this being has come to share something, and there needs to be a little reverence for that being, only because they're doing something that's so remarkable. I mean, they're being channeled through another human being. But even within ourselves and all the guides that we have, there has to be a reverence. And I don't mean worship. I just mean the respect of, you've taken the time to come through to me to teach me. I'm going to take the time to listen and to learn and respect what you have to say, and not just sort of take it for granted of, oh, like, oh yeah, this is my buddy. What is the name of your being that I can't think of the name of that you
Or
just said?
the one I did light language.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
That was,
the one being
oh,
you were just asking about.
Sacagawea,
The
Sacagawea.
Sacagawea, you're not like, oh, this is my
Her,
girl, Sacagawea,
yeah, I
woohoo. I
feel
mean,
like I was her husband. I think his name is Carbonell, but he was
right.
on the Lewis and Clark expedition with her. And I know they, I read a book a big thick book about her. About, yeah, they did go through like Idaho, which I also feel called to go to maybe one day, and Oregon, across the West. And yeah, so just recently that thought came up of, or that
Yeah.
feeling of me being like I was her husband in that lifetime, and I'm like, huh,
Well,
so
is the
well, that's
actual place,
interesting. So yeah, it's more recent that that came up. So
well, is the actual place where they were, is where you're gonna be?
yes, I mean, we're going to
So,
go along the coast, but there's also a specific fort, and I can't remember the name right now, but
well,
I'm pretty sure it was in that general area where where
well,
we're going to
perfect.
be.
So
So
try to walk the place where they were.
yeah,
Try to see if you can connect. I can tell you this is true, and it's not the same, but it's true. When I was a kid, I had no sense of my father's side of the family because his dad had been orphaned. We were told, it turned out not to be even true, but he'd been orphaned, and so we, beyond my grandfather, we didn't know anything. But the first time I went to New York City, I just was like, I felt like I knew the place. I didn't know why. I had such a connection. And when I finally like started doing genealogy and everything, it turned out that my great grandfather, who was the father of my grandfather, who said he was orphaned, lived literally like around the corner from where I lived in New York, like literally around the corner. And what was amazing is that I walked in the same streets as he walked, and I walked, in the same neighborhood, and I felt it. I didn't know why, but I'm just saying that if there's a connection there, you will feel it. It will be visceral for you, and there's such a deepening of your connection when you sort of retrack the treks of other people from your past lives, from whatever. And it happened to me by chance. I think it's probably not chance, but when I felt like I love New York, I know this place, even though I couldn't have, known. But anyway, I lived literally around the corner. And what's so interesting is my great grandfather and my father are like the spitting image of each other. So he could have well been my dad as my grandfather. You know what I mean? They were like carbon
yeah,
copies of each other. But just that connection of those things. It was the same as when I moved to Europe. I felt such a connection to the land, and it turned out that the place I was living was very close to the place that my family was from. So it's real, and that's can be real for everybody. That the place, that's why people are so attached to the places they're born and where their family's from, and that those lines, because there's such a deep connection to your ancestors. And they've walked on that land, they've lived on that land, they've
yeah.
tilled, you need to connect to that. It's very important to do that. So I would say find out where this person walked and lived and did their things, and if you get a chance to touch something they touch it. I would say.
Yeah, that
So
reminds me
I do.
of when Wendy and Joan and I, when we went to Ireland and Scotland in 2023, in Ireland, we went to Donegal, and it wasn't until after we returned. Well, I went to actually a church there in Donegal that my grandfather had been at during World War
Oh,
II. But then when I returned, I found out that my Irish ancestry is actually from the Donegal area. So I was
yeah,
there without realizing like that's where my Irish heritage specifically
yeah,
is from that area. So yeah, and I did feel connected while we were there. So yeah, definitely. I agree with that. So
that's
I'll let you
great.
move on to the next
Okay,
question,
does
but
anyone else
thank
in the
you.
room? Oh, you're welcome. Does anyone else in the room have a question? Have a question in the chat? If no one has a question, I can answer this one. Autumn Rose says, "Good morning and blessings to everyone. What is meant by working with, for example, a deity, a guide, a goddess? How does one self know? How does one self know how long the work is to be? Thank you." Okay, it's a good question. Hi, Tay. Yay, I love you too. The there's so the word working is it's not having one meaning. It's like if you work with your guides, it means you have a relationship with them, you hear from them, talk to them, they give you input, they might, I mean, at least for me, this is how it works, where, if I'm, how do you say it? If I'm doing like a reading, I'll get like little information that I share that my guide shares with me. That's working with them because I have a relationship with them and I know them. It's like having some people sitting behind me or next to me saying, oh yeah, and by the way, you should say this, or this is what this means. But then there's also working with a guide or a deity or a goddess or something where you're actually asking or invoking or trying to affect some change. Like we pray to a god, we pray to a goddess, we pray to a deity to help us. We ask for their help and their intercession. And so maybe they're giving you guidance on things to do and what to do, and you're working with them on a sort of project on a certain goal. So it has different meanings, and the work doesn't have to be any length of time. It can be just a second, or it can be something that's going on. I know that like when I'm feeding the street dogs, that's my cat trying to like beat the door down. Now that I work with street dogs, I work a lot with Kalbairov, who is a form of Shiva as a sort of protection. And I would say I'm working with him for their protection, but it's more like he's granting this protection for me, but that's ongoing and that doesn't stop. And I hopefully will not stop. But it just depends on what your goal is, but it's not necessarily like there's a time frame that is happening unless you're doing a very specific work. So I hope that answers your question. And B Hole says, have I met my soulmate? Ah, I said no questions about soulmates. I don't know. BE, have you met your soulmate? I feel like you said an old flame came back after 18 years. Is it him? I don't want to be controversial, but I feel like relationships take work. And regardless if that person is a soulmate, it's no guarantee that it's going to be a great relationship. So I would say if this person is good to you and you love each other and you work well together in your relationship and you look out for each other and you become good partners, then that's as good as a soulmate. So time will tell is my answer to you, because you sound like you're already in a relationship with this person. So that'll be for you to judge, but time will tell if this is your person. This is the person you should be with. And you shouldn't be with the person because God ordained it. You should be with this person because they're a good partner to you. They fulfill parts of your life. You fulfill parts of their life. You work together well. You love each other. That's why you should be with a person, not because the universe says you should be together. The universe wants you to be happy too. So be with a person who treats you well and not with a person who you think is your soulmate. I feel like soulmates and twin flames and all that jargon puts a lot of pressure on relationships, and it doesn't necessarily equate to a good relationship. A good relationship is built on mutual trust, mutual love, mutual understanding, and that's what you should be seeking. You shouldn't be seeking the title of soulmate without seeking the quality of what the person should be. Seek a quality person, and then you will have your soulmate. But don't do it the other way around.
I
mean,
agree. I got something on that as well. I got,
Okay.
should they be in a relationship? And I was getting yes, yes. I was getting no, not a soulmate, but a mate. So in
Yeah.
that this person is a very neutral energy, that the energy would need to be developed into something further. So if you find that that's the direction you want to go, and just like Krishna Priya was saying that, when you're in a long-term relationship, as long as you're able to work through those difficult times and the communication, because, a soulmate relationship, which I have with my husband, we're almost celebrating our 40th anniversary here next year. I would say that there's highs and lows. It's a roller coaster. There are those deep pits and there are those exquisite moments of bliss. And in order to achieve that is by having that ability to come back to neutral. And as you're coming back to neutral to say, okay, let's talk this through. And there have to be those times where you're willing to be, in service to your partner and they're going to be in service to you. And it's in those moments when you can see that love reflected back to you. Um, so I would say as long as you're both, committed to developing the relationship, to making it work, because, I love my husband, my soulmate. Do I like him on a lot of days? No, I do not. So I wish you the best of luck in all your endeavors. Set your intention and be willing to have an open spirit, a vulnerable heart, and and best of luck to you on your journey.
That's true, right? So you get a lot of people, they have one fight and they break up. And it's like, yeah, you don't get it. The whole thing with commitment is saying, I pick you. I pick you to have this relationship with, and it doesn't matter if, super sexy, hot guy number 25 walks by you or super sexy, girl, whatever walks by. You're saying to your partner, I don't care who walks by because I've chosen to build a life with you. And yes, they will walk by and there always is going to be a hotter one or a sexier one or whatever. But you choose that person, and that's the commitment. And if you don't have that with somebody, then it doesn't matter if they're your soulmate. Soulmates are karmic, and so are twin flames. It's a karmic relationship. And karma, working through karma, is not usually pleasant. I mean, there's a lot of crap you got to work through. So I always say, like, when people go, oh, is this my twin flame? I always think, I hope not, because twin flames are awful to deal with. They're really awful. And usually those relationships don't last. They are very intense and they're brief and they're sparkly. And then at the same time, they burn out quick and there's a lot of debris left over. And you end up having to pick yourself off the ground because it's just been devastating to you. So don't wish for that. Wish for the right kind of person to be in your life. Wish for the person who is going to bring you joy and is going to challenge you emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Wish for that, but don't wish for the crazy stuff because you'll get it. All right. If anyone else has any questions in the chat, I'm not seeing any, but I'm just going to go on to the YouTube chat. Tay says, is it possible to donate eggs to the Essassani and Yael program and also be incarnated there? Is it possible to be one of the modified grays on the WW3 timeline and on this timeline as well? I would say yes to all of it. It's all possible. It's all possible. Some of that stuff is like amusement park stuff, like nice to have. I mean, the true reason to be incarnated is for the journey of the soul. But if that's if like Bashar says, that's your highest joy, then of course you can create that. You might have already created it. You might be remembering it, thinking, oh, I need it, but you might in fact have it. And if all time is now, you probably are incarnated as a, gray and as a modified gray and as a Essassani or Yael, and you probably have donated your eggs. So you might not have caught up with the timeline where that's happened, but if all time is now and that's a desire of your heart, of course it's possible. So you would just send a mental sort of, get into a meditational space and connect with the energy that is the Yael, that is the Essassani, and make your offer. And I'm sure they'd be happy to have your DNA as part of their program. Let's see. It's Tay says it's a loaded question. It's not really a loaded question. I feel it was what I told to Susan earlier. If you feel the pull to something, it's a calling. I really believe that. I really believe whatever you feel the pull to, it's because it's something that you should be exploring or doing, and just trust it. take the call as the invitation. Take the call as the confirmation, you know. Gary says, you will know when it's divine. Okay, it's not a question. He's giving words of wisdom. Let me see. All right. Does anyone else have any questions? They're talking about grays and all kinds of stuff in the chat. I'm not going to get involved in that conversation. We're talking about books on grays that everyone should read. Does anyone have a question? Angie, do you have a question, or she's there, or Adriana?
I don't have any. I am here. I am kind of doing some work in the background, getting ready for the class this afternoon. But I did. No, that was it.
Okay, Susan has a question. Go ahead, Susan. Or is that the, or how about if I
No.
take Adriana's? Okay, go ahead. Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So the question I have is, I know my boyfriend and I have both been extremely busy with our jobs and haven't, it seems, I don't know if we're drifting apart, or if this is just a temporary thing where we're just kind of going on our own paths right now in self-discovery, but eventually our schedules will kind of slow down and we'll come back together. I mean, I don't necessarily feel like we're separating, but it's kind of like just interesting the past few months where we're finding less and less time together. And yeah, I'm just trying to, I guess, figure out in my human mind what's going on
Sure.
with that. If it's just the way the energies are on the planet right now and things are speeding up, which it's been feeling like that as well. And that eventually things will calm down and we'll kind of come back together. Our schedules will slow down a bit. I'm just trying to wondering I guess, what's going on with that right now.
Okay, are you talking to him every day? Are you all talking every day?
Yeah, I mean, we usually talk via text message because he's busy during the day or I'm busy during the day. Because we usually work during the day and things like that. And but sometimes he has to work at night. Because we're both in information technology. So we kind of, have been working more, I guess, overtime lately. And
I don't
yeah,
see
and
the
he's
relationship
having to
ending.
go on business trips a lot lately, which is part
Yeah,
of it. So
yeah. I don't see this relationship necessarily ending at all. I feel like your priorities are shifting for both of you though. And so there will come a moment where you need to sit down and decide if you both are going to prioritize each other. Because right now it feels like some of your attention is being pulled away by things that you can't control, like work and stuff like that. But some of the things, sometimes it feels to me like some choices are made not to prioritize each other. And you're going to have to decide, does that work for you or not work for you? But I don't see you all breaking up, but I do see there coming a moment, I would say in the next few months, where you sit down and say, hey, we have to start factoring each other in a little bit more and to really
yeah,
make a choice to spend time together. Because right now what happens is you get on a roll, and the next thing you know, wow, you're this far apart,
yeah,
and makes it harder to come back together because you've committed yourself here, he's committed himself there, and you're not able to bring it all together. But what I don't have here, which is really good, is I don't have resentment or anger or anything like that. It feels very congenial, the relationship. I just say that their circumstances have elevated your ability to choose to do other things than to make each other a priority and spend time together. If
yeah. I mean, we both have had health issues the last several
Mhm.
months or things going on health wise. He had back surgery. I had a tooth extracted. So, I mean, there's been things like that as well. And I've like my cat, I've had cat issues, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to like grow vegetables again this year and I'm starting my vegetable garden right now and that takes some time. I also have a side business where I do channeling and I have an Etsy shop. So it's like so yeah,
Sure,
I'm
but
like there's
but
constantly things to do, but I totally
I think
agree
something too.
about that we need to prioritize time together. Yeah. And I do agree that that's gonna kind of come to a head at some point, but
I
what I would say, well, let me just say this. Other couples would face health challenges together as opposed to
Yeah.
separately. And other couples would garden together as opposed to separately.
He has like some Asperger's type symptoms.
Mhm.
He's never been officially diagnosed, but he did have a doctor bring it to his attention once years ago. We've known
Yeah.
each other for like 30 years. So as friends and, together as a couples off and on over the years. So we're back together the last probably year and a half now, and things are really going really good. But yeah, I do understand his personality and that he does. I think we both kind of are a little bit of a loner where we like our time separate, but we also like our time together, if that makes sense. So it's like we understand each other and that we both kind of need a little space sometimes. Like, and we've tried living together. We have lived together, and in some ways, living separately kind of works, at least right now. But who knows in the future if we'll feel, like it's, time to move together again. So and live together. But that's not necessarily a driving force, at least right now.
Well, what I perceive is what it shows is that, again, very congenial couple,
Yeah.
just that it's coming a time, and I would say probably around, it feels to me towards the end of June, beginning of July, that there will be a moment where you both say, hey, I haven't seen you in 2 months. I haven't seen
Yeah.
you at all. And we have to prioritize each other. And
Yeah,
once you
like
make
we were
that
going to get together
decision,
last night and it got pushed. It's now sometime next week, but he has had like two back-to-back trips the last couple weeks for work. And so that's kind of hindered things. But yeah, it's like I hope things settle down, like where we can
Does
get
he work
back.
does he work remote?
He works from home part of the time and he works in the office part of the time, but he's kind of like a voice and data networks like senior engineer.
So
So
do
yeah,
you
he's
work
having to
remote?
go set up network stuff at different
Do you
locations.
work remote?
I work 100% remote for
So
as an
what
IT business analyst. Yeah.
so what I'm getting is the same thing, that the relationship is, it's smooth, it's easy. Yes, there's going to be times where you don't see each other. That's all okay. But the message and information that was given to me was plan on those remote days to work together in the same location. So
Yeah, we
whether
could do
you're at
that.
his house or at your house, because even though you may not be having conversations, it'll give you an opportunity to be like, oh, let's take a 5-minute break. And
Or let's have
you'll
lunch
have a little,
together.
you'll have,
Yeah.
yeah, you'll have an interaction. And because I know that our schedules, like my husband sometimes will work from home, our schedules will sometimes, like we're not eating our food together, maybe dinner, but lunch, he's on his schedule, I'm on mine, and you might be on calls or meetings or whatever. So same thing, you know what I mean? Like you'll just like work around it. But what's happening is when you're together in that same environment is that you're getting that, that auric energy share. Because I think for the level of I shouldn't say I feel that the level of relationship that you're at is, it's very loving and it's very
Yeah,
accepting,
we're
and
both happy with
yeah. And so
being together. Yeah. So it's
so
not
instead
an
of
issue
so
there.
instead of looking for where are the gaps, look where the combined joinings are, look where those connectors are, and focus on that versus where the gaps are. And then always know that you'll be in that flow and that you'll be able to, work through kind of what your ego brain might be, throwing around about, oh, are we spending enough time together? Or I haven't seen him. And I mean, he may be having that too and may not be communicating it to you. So, but that's kind of that's kind of like how my team is telling me is that, they call themselves the dream team. They say that, by finding those connectors, and because you do have those opportunities to work remote together in the same location, that you'll find that there's a benefit to it. Just plan ahead.
okay, perfect. Thank you. Adriana has a question.
I actually wanted to add something on to what she said, and this is just general advice for everyone who has someone neurodivergent in their life. I had a marriage with someone who was neurodivergent years ago, and so much less was understood. please try and learn as much as you can about the human psychology and what's going on in the brain for them. So much it can cause so much pain and miscommunication, and it led to a painful divorce. And now we don't need to do that anymore. We can understand each other so much more. So yeah, that's my general piece of advice. And then moving on to a different subject. Those of us who channel, we often find at different points in time certain consistencies coming through our channelings. And I'm wondering what people are getting. Like, are they getting a lot of messages from the Syrians, or is there a theme, or is there something you're learning yourself that keeps coming up? So
Is that a
yeah,
question for the group?
it's an open-ended question to everyone else who channels.
Okay, is there anybody that wants to answer there?
I can start. So a lot of information that's coming through channeling, and I know that you're in a lot of this with our Channeled Illuminations YouTube, you know, as we're getting together as a group. But a lot of messages are self-love, love for others, acceptance of self, acceptance of others, unity. There's quite a few things, like consistent messages that are coming through and from different messengers. We're getting a lot of elemental beings coming through to support and remind us that we're always protected. We're getting a lot of galactics that are coming through, the Arcturians, the Syrians, the Andromedans, a lot of angels that come through with always messages of divine love, reference back to source, and mostly to recognize that these energies that are coming through are changing, that everyone that is going through some chaos is to lead them to the next level. So if you ever think about challenges, like maybe you've gone to college, and during college is a struggle. It's a struggle. But when you get to that graduation and you've got your robe on and you're walking up to get your acceptance and you're listening to this speech by, you know, the head of a university perhaps, or, you know, or the, well, the guest speaker, that there's a moment of achievement. I did this, it happened, I got through it. But at that moment, you forget about the struggle. You had it, you went through it, but you forget about it. So it's kind of those messages that I'm getting, that we're getting as a group, is often related to that, is to remember that you're here on this journey, that your experience is your creation, that you can set the intention for what you want. And then the one thing that they always say is remember to ask for help, because if you don't ask for help, they can't interfere. So, and then that relationship will develop from there with who you're connecting with.
Yeah. Can I add something?
Sure. Who's
That's a
talking?
very, very interesting question, and I love when
Donnie, please let them know who's speaking.
Oh, this is
Okay,
Donnie.
and
Hi.
Donnie, can you turn on your camera or not? And Wendy, can you turn yours
I'm
on?
in bed. It's 2:26 a.m. I was sleeping and I woke up suddenly. I just woke up. And then I saw the text message from Susan. She's like, come to Hucolo. I'm like, oh, okay. I was wide awake
Okay,
suddenly.
all
So,
right. Okay, would be nice
so
to
if you
see you,
don't
but
mind, I'll just
understood.
like keep my
No, fine,
camera.
no problem.
Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, and I love Wendy's answer. And I was just gonna say, the Arcturians have been with me, and it was so funny. Last night we had a very long conversation, and they said to me that we are going to start with your group, with your collective, a series of communication as to what we have learned from humans, what we are learning from you. And we were talking about humor, and oh my God, it was such a funny conversation. You have no idea. It was just absolutely hilarious. And they're like, we had no concept of humor, what humor is. It's not in our, in our, um, like what do you call that, in our network, you know. So we are learning from humans what humor is, what human humor is, what do you laugh about. And because we couldn't understand sarcasm, or like they're like the fascination about you know, intimacy or sex or like body parts, you know. And then now we are understanding the mechanisms of human humor, and it was really funny. So I just want to say that you are
That's
all
cool.
welcome to, yeah, you're all welcome to bring in Arcturians and just ask, what else are you learning about us? I'll definitely, you know, bring more about this in our channeling group, you know, next time. But I just wanted to
Arcturians are
put that in.
definitely like higher beings. They're very focused on much higher level things. So to understand human things, it for them is really
Yeah,
something.
but it
Yeah,
was hilarious what they've
that's
learned.
good.
But like, yeah, they're like, we had no concept of sarcasm, satire, all this, or like when you make jokes about history, you know, things in relation to history, and it's just funny now, but it was not funny back then, you know. So they just couldn't like, they are learning so much from us as well, and they would love to share with us what they're learning from us, not only what humans are learning from them, you know. So yeah, just wanted to bring this in.
That's cool. That's great. Yeah,
Welcome.
I feel like every group of beings has sort of their thematic messages, but of course, your own interaction with them, there's also stuff that they're learning from interacting with you. So that's a good example of that. Did that answer your question, Adriana? Because we can move on to another.
Oh yeah, I just want, you know how we usually do like global updates. I wanted to check in with everyone and see what everyone else is getting. I know for
Okay.
myself as a beginning channeler, I just keep getting messages about inner peace, inner love, and seeing the divine in every single person. But you know,
I mean,
I'm a
that's the
beginning
main
channeler.
message, isn't it? I mean, that's the main message. And until we sort of do that, you know, that's, I mean, that is the sort of key in the door. When we realize oneness, when we realize that everyone is us, then we operate in a wholly different way. And, you know, people used to say, oh, you're not bringing through any new information. Well, people haven't mastered the most basic message of higher beings, which is to know yourself as the divine and to know other people as divine. And until we really do that, we really will keep getting that same message. So you might say as a beginning channeler, you're getting that message, but I promise you, the highest being that is out there is saying the same thing. That is the main message of all channeled messages, is to know yourself as divine. And so all other information that's sort of Space Academy level stuff is, you know, that's all interesting and everything. But as humanity, our biggest challenge is to know ourselves as divine beings and to realize that not only are we divine, but everyone else is divine and we're all one. And when we can get that, then we can maybe move into some other stuff. But if we could manage that, we would be doing so well. I'm going to answer Temple's question, who's come through. She says, this is cute, and I understand her question. She says, any idea why every year on this weekend, my dad, brother, and others go on this fishing trip, and every year, very bad things happen, like hospital things. And this year, there was a car accident, no one was hurt, but every weekend, something bad happens for this trip. Any ideas why? Well, I feel like your dear father and brother and everything haven't learned anything about what they're doing. They keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. But that's just a joke. It just feels like it's a karmic thing, that there's some karma that they're working out, and so it's sort of their annual, let's get this out of the way kind of karmic event that they're going to have. I feel like that's what it is. And I don't know what the higher or the lower levels of the dynamics of the karma is, but it just feels like when the same group of people get together and they constantly have the same result, it would be interesting to know their energy going in. Is there conflict going on? Is there like resentment or unforgiveness that is manifesting, that is drawing sort of a lower energy vibration to them, that is causing these things? because that would have an effect. That would definitely have an effect. But it feels to me like it's a karmic situation. Yeah. I'm just looking at the, okay. All right. You know what? I just realized the time. We're supposed to stop now. Because they've got the class starting. So I apologize. Okay, well then she says the energy going in is always fun, excitement, and happy. Then I would just say that they have some karma to work out, and probably it could be much worse than it was if they weren't in a good mindset. So if it could be that someone was irreparably harmed, but it just feels to me like a karmic thing, because to have the same event happen over and over and over again in different ways every time they get together, there's something higher energetically going on, and it's definitely karma. It's definitely karma. I would say that maybe the call for them is to, like I said to Susan in the beginning, to maybe set a really good intention before they go, and maybe you can work with them energetically to sort of clear any kind of stuck energies. If they're doing this every year, it's highly likely that in another lifetime they were doing this also repetitively. And so they're living out some kind of they're living out sort of karmic impression that they're reliving, sort of a Groundhog Day kind of situation. So there has to be something to break that cycle. And the fact that they keep doing it energetically, like with energy and like enthusiastically, is really great. But maybe like on an energy level, you could work with them to set the intention, to be extra aware of dangers or possibilities of, getting in a car accident or doing this. And so that they're actually paving their way energetically before they go, so that they're more in control of the situation. But maybe that's where you come in, and you sort of help them to find that thing that they're supposed to break or release. Because if it's happening over and over and over again, they're definitely in some kind of sort of Groundhog Day psychic loop, though I don't know what it is.
I was getting that there was back in the old days, so to say, that there was an injury that happened, somebody got hurt, and they weren't able to, like we have today, get them to a safe place. And so what they're doing is they're learning to support each other and to be able to come together in a new way, a new reflective way that they weren't able to in the past. And that hurt and pain that they felt and carried throughout their lifetime after, an incident or incidents had occurred, that that's part of what's being, kind of released. It's being set free and being given the opportunity to be examined. So as each of them are, kind of leaving from the trip, to kind of examine, oh, well, what happened? Or, how could this have happened? And, what were those feelings that they were having in conjunction with the incident? So, but yeah, I heard karma right away too. Right after the question was said, I was like, it just popped in, karma. And I was like, okay.
Symbol saying that like they're, they have very different viewpoints on religion. So I'm supposing they're probably Christian or Catholic or something, but just speak to them in terms of that. Calling on Jesus, calling on the protection, calling on angels to protect them, guide their way, light their way, whatever. I mean, use their language. Doesn't matter. Prayer, we're all praying to the same God, so it doesn't matter. And if they're afraid of certain language, then don't use that language. Use the language that they understand and that makes them feel very, safe and protected. Have them call down Jesus and to pray and bless their trip in the name of Jesus, to release any negative energy that would be coming to them, to whatever it would be. I would say speak to them where they are. Yeah. Angie, so everyone, thank you. I'm so sorry to cut this off. Like, I realize we're now going into the time of their preparation for the course. So I'm going to turn it over to Angie. You can do the prayer also on the way out, Angie.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So thank you, everybody. This was short and sweet, and much love to you. And thank you everyone for their contributions and their thing. Okay, much love to you.
Yes. Okay. So we with Skype being taken down, this is the new website. Well, not the new way. This has been up, but to contact Jim, it's his website. To email Jim, please email Jim at jim-charles.com. That is the new email address. That the website. For any type of contact with Jim, please go to that site for all sessions and for contact. The other thing I want to say about the website is Jim, his assistant, Will, and I were getting everything all situated and switched around for Jim. If you get an invitation to a Google Meet, please, if that date and time works for you, please click accept. If you click decline, then they get notice and then they just have to reswitch it. But just trying to help everyone get in the understanding of how the new process is going to be working. Today, this afternoon, we are doing Galactic Energy Healing Student Course. If you're interested, you can still pop in. It is from 2 p.m. To 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The cost is $150. Shoot an email to classes@hucolo.org. I can get information to you out if you are interested in becoming a beautiful healer. With that, I don't have any other announcements. Jim will be back next week as the channeler, and so we look forward to seeing everyone then. Let me go ahead and do a light language. Nkuchuchura sato kono mata, hira, hurasakani che etokono. Huru ushishi atokona. Haro no rujusha atimi inirukura. Burasa tokonoshe. Translation, please. Follow your hearts, for your hearts will lead you in all directions. Follow your understanding. Your understandings help guide who and where you are going, what you are doing. For all these things bring in and about an understanding of this, the self. Blessings and love to you.
Great. Oh, I'm trying to turn my video on. Oh, I have to unspotlight you.
Oh.
Oh, there we are. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Next week, of course, Angie said we'll be back with Jim, and then in 2 weeks, we'll be back with Max. So just so you know now, for the time being, at the end of the month, Max will be doing his what are they called?
Telepathy tapes.
Telepathy tapes, webinars, because he's in California and because he can't get up that early. He's starting a little later. He just can't manage, but he can, once he gets into the webinar, it'll go for 4 or 5 hours. So buckle up, but he does need to start a little later. So every 4th week, and I don't know where we can put it so people can see it, but every 4th week, it'll be Max, and the webinar will start about 45 minutes later then. Is that when he's starting, right? 45 minutes about?
Yes, between 11:30 and 11:45. That is correct.
Okay, so he'll be
It is good information.
No, the information is great. I just want people to know about the timing.
Yes.
Because it's different, and it does tend to go longer.
Right.
But it's great. So just every 4th week, Max will
Yes.
be here for the time being. Okay, well, much love to everyone. Thank you. Have a fantastic week, and stay positive, stay happy, stay. Come back when you
All
can.
right.
All right, much love to you. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone to YouTube. Love to you,
Bye.
Gary and Tay and B and Temple and Nathaniel and Illuminated. I'm trying to make sure I said it. And Dios Mios Rios. I love that name. And $5 hug, of course. Oh, I didn't see Matt Wally. Anyway, hope to see you all next time. And thank you to Wendy and to Susan and to Adriana, Donnie, Radha, Michael, Angie, of course.